Our group is going to present case European Communities regime for the importation, sale, and distribution of bananas. I'm going to present fact of easy banana case. So in the European Communities, there are two distinct import systems for bananas. First, bananas were permitted to be imported duty-free by the SIB states, Africa, the Caribbean, and Pacific. And second, bananas were not permitted to be imported duty-free by the non-APC states. They were imposed heavy tax. Because of that, the governments of the US, Ecuador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Mexico requested a hearing in front of the WTO in 1996 at the urging of the US-based Quiquita company due to the cooperation problems operating in Latin America. And the complainants claim that the European Community's rules for importing, selling, and distributing bananas were not in line with WTO standards, mainly the most favored nation MFN rule. Also, they broke these rules Articles 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 8 of GATT 1994. They are also insist that EC did not follow with import licensing agreement, also did not follow with agreement on agriculture. Moreover, they broke the TRIMS agreement and the GATT.
Regarding the issues of this case, the European Community's banana import regime violated several rules under the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, the Licensing Agreement, and the General Agreement in Services. The most important violations under GATT were the Article 1, Paragraph 1, Most Favored Nation treatment. The European Communities give preferential treatment to bananas from Africa, Caribbean, and Pacific countries, disadvantaging bananas from other countries, violating the principle of non-discrimination. Under Article 3, Paragraph 4, the national treatment, the European Communities treated imported bananas less favorably compared to domestic ones, discriminating against the foreign. The violation under the license agreement, the most important one, was the violation of Article 1.3. The European Community's licensing procedures were not transparent or predictable. This affected all the involved parties: Ecuador, Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, and the USA. The most important violations under GATS were the Article 2, the MFN treatment. The European Community's regime discriminated against services and service suppliers from Ecuador, Mexico, and the USA, violating the MFN principle. The Article 70 national treatment, the European Communities treated foreign services and service suppliers less favorably than domestic ones, impacting Ecuador, Mexico, and the USA. In summary, the European Community's banana import regime was found to be discriminatory and trade distorting, violating key international trade agreements. All this led to the affected countries to request consultation.
Hello guys, in this slide I will tell you about the rules applied. Well, in the rule applied, there was one Article 1 of GATT 1994, most favored nation MFN treatment with rule applied, and another Article 3-4 of GATT 1994 national treatment. Well, moving further, there was one also Article like 13 and 13.2 of GATT 1994 non-discriminatory administration of quantitative restrictions. Well, moving further with another article. Well, there was of GATT 1994 bound tariffs, the rule which they applied. There was one more rule which they applied was Article 2 of GATS most favored nation treatment, and Article 17 of GATS national treatment. They all applied this rule on the European communities.
Article 1.1 of GATT 1994. The World Trade Organization expects that all its member countries treat each other equally when it comes to trade. However, the European Community was giving special benefits to banana producers from African, Caribbean, and Pacific countries, like lower tariffs and easier access to its markets. This special treatment was not offered to banana producers from other regions, particularly Latin America, which made it unfair. The WTO found this to be a violation of its rules that expect all trading partners to be treated equally. Article 3.4 of GATT 1 1994. The rules also say that imported goods should be treated no worse than domestic products within a country, but the EC had a system that favored bananas grown within certain European countries over bananas that were imported. This system included complex licensing and distribution rules that made it harder for imported bananas to compete fairly. This was also ruled as unfair by the WTO because it favored domestic bananas over those from other countries.
Hi everyone, I am Joyce and I will continue the discussion about application of rules. So Article 13 Section 1 and Article 13 Section 2 GATT 1994. The administration of European Community Tariff Quota System was inconsistent with non-discriminatory administration of quantitative restrictions. The very high levels of quota granted to ACP countries under this system distorted global trade and discriminated unjustly against the rest of World Trade Organization members in terms of access, making it not consistent with the principle mandating equal administration treatment among quota holders. The next one is Article 2, Section 1B of GATT 1994. The tariff rate applicable to imports of bananas on an MFN basis by the community had been found to be in excess of bound rates set out in Schedule XXX, Portugal and Spain. Imports under tariff quotas from non-community countries to replace tariff rate quota system with public distribution scheme. The EC set an MFN duty for bananas at rate of 176 euros per metric ton, higher than the bound tariff level of 75 euros for in quota, established by the United States under GATT. The last one would be Article 2 and Article 17 of GATS. The European Community measures were evaluated on the basis of provisions of GATS as well. The appellate body concluded that the EC regimes discriminated on the basis of foreignness on the wholesale trade services market of bananas, making both the MFN and the national treatment in GATS to apply. The discrimination consisted in the access to the market opportunities and in the conditions under which the foreign suppliers could compete.
In conclusion, let's briefly revisit the key outcomes and implications of the EU banana import case. The key outcomes include the World Trade Organization ruled against the EU, finding its banana import regime in violation of several trade rules. The EU was required to reform its banana import policies to align with the World Trade Organization rules, ensuring non-discriminatory practices and fair competition. The implications included the ruling had significant implications for global banana trade, particularly affecting the market dynamics between ACP and non-ACP countries. The EU implemented changes to its import system, moving towards a tariff-only regime to comply with the World Trade Organization's decision. The decision was met with mixed reactions, with ACP countries concerned about losing market advantages, while non-ACP countries welcomed the move towards fairer trade practices.
As we look forward, here are some key lessons and future considerations from this case. Lessons learned. Importance of compliance. The case underscores the importance of adhering to international trade rules to maintain a fair, competitive global market. Balancing interests. It highlights the challenges in balancing the interests of different groups such as ACP and non-ACP countries in trade policy. Future outlooks include ongoing adjustments. The EU continues to adjust its policies to maintain compliance with World Trade Organization rulings while supporting its trade partners. Potential disputes. Similar disputes may arise as global trade evolves, requiring vigilant enforcement of trade rules and ongoing negotiations. Sustainable practices. There is an increasing emphasis on sustainable and equitable trade practices to ensure long-term benefits for all stakeholders. Thank you for listening to our presentation.